Welcome to this episode of You Built That? A podcast that showcases the ins and outs and ups and downs of building a small business. Each week, You Built That will feature a different small business in order to help prospective entrepreneurs gain insight into owning and operating a small business. I'm Danny Shields, your host, and today we will be speaking with Anthony Duca, owner of Duca Studio Wedding Photography and Video. Duca Studio is a third-generation family-owned business. Mr. Duca, it's a pleasure to have you on this episode of You Built That.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us about the nature of your business and how it all started.
It started back in the late 1950s with my grandfather and father being in the wedding photography and photographic business. He basically was just photographing weddings and photographing family portraits in a studio. I remember as a little child going there and watching, and I thought it was only natural that I would continue the reputation. And really the nature of the business is more about helping people memorialize or document their events and their years of growing up. So I enjoyed the ability to be a historian for family and preserve their memories.
There are numerous photography studios in the tri-state area. I googled to see how many, and there are just too many to count. How does a small business owner separate themselves from the competition? What makes Duca Studio different from the competition?
I think a small business owner would separate themselves from the competition by simply offering a better product, more care and consideration into their customer service, as well as social media, doing the necessary things to attract the audience through means of virally going on to the social media platforms, displaying their images, and producing an excellent product for clients to talk about. Word of mouth is still strong in this industry, as well as displaying your images on all the necessary platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and just making sure that clients are talking about you. And starting with your friends and family, that will be a good start, and it'll naturally snowball into a following. We separate ourselves because of the reputation of 50 years or more with our family. I'm the third generation owner of this business, so I have a little advantage because we have a following. Reputation is important, but also a repetitive business where we're taking the photographs of the children's weddings, and my dad had done perhaps the mother's wedding or the father's wedding, and they just want to stay within our family to service their daughter or their children's needs.
I know there are lots of pressures associated with owning and operating a business. Can you share some of these pressures and how you deal with them? Please speak to the general challenges and those challenges specific to your line of work.
Well, I think with working with people in general in the social environment, your pressures are that it's a once of a lifetime moment. You need to be aware of your time throughout the day, orchestrating the people, managing their personalities, their facial features, and I believe that the challenge sometimes is that who likes their photo taken? Maybe 50% think they look great in photos, the other 50% don't like their photo to be taken. So the challenge there is to work with them to make them feel more comfortable or help them feel more comfortable. And then delivery. I think delivery is important. When you deliver a product or a photograph or anything that a person's going to keep as a keepsake or look at for a while, you should really select the images that most flatter them and deliver them in a timely manner. If that takes you to a new level of retouching the image for them, helping them with utilizing filters, taking off blemishes, fixing some areas that are easily done in Photoshop, that'll help them feel as though they have received an outstanding product. So the challenges are mostly having the ability to work with everyone's personalities, finding a solution to their needs, be a problem solver all day, work within time restraints, and to still maintain decorum and professionalism throughout the day.
In addition to the normal trials of running your own business, you and thousands of small business owners have to deal with the COVID-19. Please tell our audience how the pandemic has impacted your business.
Originally, we were scheduled to photograph weddings from February through June. And as the word got out that the mandates for gatherings would be, let's say, ended or reduced significantly, we started to see the clients call and want to reschedule their event to, let's say, 6 months later or 2021, as opposed to their April, May, or June 2020 wedding, or their bar mitzvah, whatever it was. So we were rescheduling them, and we were giving them full credit of their contract towards their new date. And we were also adding a new function or a new event for them, which would have been a micro wedding, where they were still going to get married on their wedding date, but limited to the number of people that were allowed to gather, which was 10 at one time. It went up to 25. And then now outdoors, it can be up to 250. And indoors, I think, is still changing. So we were faced with nature of rescheduling, but then not losing the business, but we were working with our clients to satisfy their need to adapt to the requirements in the state of Pennsylvania. And we also work with Delaware and New Jersey. So we were adopting our changes for them based on the state mandate.
Every job requires hard skills and soft skills. The hard skills being the skills specific to the job, while the soft skills include how someone relates and interacts with others. Can you identify some of the hard and soft skills necessary in your line of work?
Absolutely. I think we touched on that a little bit ago when you mentioned what it would take to run the business, etc. The hard skills are knowing your equipment, running the business itself, the daily ins and outs of managing the administration of your business, handling the phone calls, dealing with the, let's say, coordination of the teams going out, and really just knowing how to take a photograph or do a video edit, create a beautiful finished product that the client would really be comfortable with and overwhelmed. Bring a client to the point where they're tears of joy, as well as really showing off their images that you worked hard to create for them. The soft skills are trying to discern what the client's personality or their expectations would need on the day, perhaps during the initial consultation, the first time you meet with a client in your studio or on Zoom or FaceTime. It's important to dress appropriately, know the client ahead of time, have some important information already known about them, such as their location, the fact that their perhaps family is large or small. But the soft skills really depend on how much the due diligence process is necessary to create a comfortable environment for the client, because you've done your homework. You've learned a little bit about them, what their needs are, over the phone perhaps, or through an online form they would have filled out. So when they speak to you or come into the studio, you tend to have the skills necessary for them to feel comfortable that you will be the right person or coordinator, help them achieve their results.
Mr. Tuca, we've been talking about the challenges you face in your business. So let's end it on a high note. What are the positives associated with the type of work you do? In other words, why do you do this job?
I always enjoyed meeting people, and I'm glad you asked that question. I think that the joy of this is that you're part of someone's special day. As I said earlier, we are historians capturing memories and moments just all around the idea of meeting someone again after you photographed their wedding or did their child's portrait, and seeing the fact that you were an integral part in a moment in their life, a milestone in their life, and the joy of now doing the daughter and granddaughter's weddings or family portraits that my father and my grandfather have done in the past really brings a smile to my face and warms my heart, because I find that I meet a lot of people who mention my father and how special he was to them, and now they're asking me to handle their daughter's wedding. Or now I'm in my 50s, I'm seeing that I'm also doing a daughter's wedding of the mother of the bride, who I photographed her wedding when I was 19 or 20 or a little bit older. But I finally find it to be coming full circle, and my sons and my nieces and nephews are involved. So we have 4 generations that are doing this type of work, and it just comes from the heart. I think it's a special gift that we have that's not easily mastered, and it's always nice to go into someone's home and see an image that you created for them that they're proud of to show, or an album that they're able to look at anniversary of their wedding or their bar and bat mitzvah. That's really the excitement of this business, that you're offering something that is treasured and will last a lifetime.
Anthony Duca of Duca Studio Wedding Photography and Video has been speaking with me, Danny Shields, on this podcast episode of You Built That.